first, a quick show of hands. How many people in here have ever had a electrical issue with their car ever happen? By show of hands. Wow. Okay, well, I'm going to give you an idea on if it was alternator or battery related. I'm going to give you an idea of what makes it work. My topic tonight is how an alternator produces electricity. Okay. Don't mind my crude drawing. I can only draw stick men. So this is actually, if it was on like an electrical diagram, it would kind of look something like this. I'm just going to start out. Let's see. I'm going to start out by countering on Charles's speech as a source. It was a fact. He was talking about Tesla. Tesla invented, also, he invented electromagnetic theory, or knew about it. But he also invented, because of his electromagnetic theory, it was a precursor to inventing the alternator, or alternating current. We see it right now. It's sitting, the alternating current is used in most homes. It's used everywhere else with the exception of machines. Most machines run on direct current. Direct current is basically exactly how it says. Direct current's from one point to another. It never stops. That's why if you ever see like old cars and when they turn them on, the lights will like brighten as the engine spins a little faster. That's because it's making direct current. It's going directly to the lights. Whereas alternating current goes from one point to another. It goes in a frequency, or basically, you know, we're talking about like hertz. Hertz was a person who found out about frequencies and what, you know, the human ear can hear, but this one's below. It's actually at something called 60 hertz, which is basically what electricity will flow at. So an alternator basically works this way. It has answers at ask.com said electricity is produced on two poles. We're going to say a pole. This is north and south. We don't want to say negative and positive because it produces energy. So we're going to say north and south pole axis. There's this M means a motor, and basically it looks like this. Looks like this inside an alternator, which this is a picture of in the car. The alternator has something called a rotor. The rotor spins. You'll see, like if you look at your car and you see the serpentine belt and stuff like that, and they'll spin. The rotor spins around a stator. Stator, the easiest way to explain how a stator and rotor works is, as a kid or just any time, have you ever taken two magnets and when you stick them together they attract to each other and it's very hard to pull them apart? When you reverse the magnet and you try to stick them together, they want to oppose each other. That's actually the same way an alternator produces electricity. What it does is you have that one opposition here, or north and south, because if it was north and north, they would stick together. So this opposes itself. So when it spins, it creates electrons. The electrons come up to the battery on the positive side because it creates power going this way. The power is converted from alternating current to direct current to a battery, and this battery stores that energy, or will take the energy to the car or to the machine, whatever it is. So most of the time, a lot of people think a battery runs a car. Well, it's not the battery that runs a car, it's this little motor. This motor just transfers the power, and whenever it doesn't need it, it just sends it to the battery. And if it gets too much power, it's called spurious voltage. Spurious voltage goes to the frame. So sometimes, like if you ever jump start a car and the cables get hot, the cables have nowhere to go. So they try to find ground, or basically the car itself, to dissipate heat. Energy, when energy is used, it goes as heat. That's why if you ever feel a bulb and so forth, it's hot. that rotor creates power. When an alternator goes bad, this basically happens. Just like I just did, same thing happens inside. The rotor inside will break a connection. In electric theory, they talk about flow, or to close the circuit. And when you close a circuit, basically, if you see right here, the negative side of this goes here, so it actually closes. It all kind of goes in a direction. It has to go in a certain direction. It has to keep flowing. Just like it's circular, that's why they describe a motor circular. Just like electric. Electric's not square, it's circular. And it runs on the current. And the current actually flows through. And that's how you get lights, and that's how you run your motor. Spark plug, so forth. But when you close the loop, basically close here, and when an alternator goes bad, it can't charge the battery, so it opens the circuit. It has nowhere to go. It actually gets trapped in here. That's why your light's dimmed, and that's why you went off on the side of the road and said something's wrong with my battery or something. Another fact, one of the reasons why we don't use DC current inside a home, we use AC current, because DC 0.1 amps will kill you. You couldn't even, for example, volts won't kill you, whereas amps will. Volts is like static. Like, no one knows that static is approximately 20,000 volts. But it's so quick, it doesn't hurt you. You just feel the ill effect of it because it's electrons passing from one place to another. That's why static's the way it works. But amps is a direct hit. It just goes direct to you. It'll kill you in one shot. That was from ask.com. But you can also check it out on other sites. I have one more thing. Back on electromagnetism, a guy named Josh Briggs, he had an article on howstuffworks.com, said electromagnetism produces electrons through a stator and rotor. I wish I had one so I could show you it, but it's just basically just what I had there. That's all I had.